As I stand before you, recounting the journey that shaped my destiny, I cannot help but delve into the depths of my soul, revealing the turmoil that raged within me, the hidden struggles that no one saw, but I felt with every fiber of my being. My name is Moses, and my life was a tapestry, woven with threads of defiance and doubt, faith and fear. Born into a time of oppression, my childhood was marked by a miraculous escape from death, hidden away in a reed basket on the Nile's waters. Raised as a prince in Pharaoh's court, I reveled in the luxuries afforded to me, oblivious to the suffering of my people, the Hebrews. But the day came when the veil of ignorance was lifted, and I could no longer turn a blind eye to the injustices surrounding me. Witnessing an Egyptian taskmaster mercilessly beat a Hebrew slave, I was consumed by a righteous anger that propelled me to action. In that moment, I became a fugitive, fleeing to the wilderness of Midian, where I found refuge and redemption. Yet, even in the embrace of solitude, my heart was heavy with the burden of my people's plight. It was in the quiet stillness of the desert that I encountered the divine presence of God, burning bush that blazed with holy fire yet remained unconsumed. In that sacred moment, God spoke to me, revealing his plan to deliver the Israelites from bondage and appointing me as his chosen vessel. But as the weight of his calling settled upon my shoulders, so too did the crushing weight of my own inadequacies. How could I, a mere mortal, stand before the mighty Pharaoh and demand the release of my people? My tongue faltered, my words stumbled, and I trembled at the thought of the task before me. Fearing my own limitations, I pleaded with God to send another, someone more eloquent, more worthy. But he would not be swayed, his voice echoing in the chambers of my soul.
I will be with you.
And so, with trembling hands and a quaking heart, I embarked on a journey that would test the very limits of my faith. With my brother Aaron by my side, I stood before Pharaoh, a trembling voice in the presence of power incarnate. It was Aaron who spoke the words that I could not, his voice ringing out with conviction as he delivered God's message of liberation. And though fear threatened to paralyze me, I clung to the promise that God had spoken.
I will be with you.
The road to freedom was paved with trials and tribulations, as Pharaoh's heart hardened with each refusal to let my people go. Plague upon plague descended upon Egypt, from blood to frogs and gnats to death itself. Yet still, he refused to relent. And in the darkness of those long nights, I wrestled with doubt and despair, wondering if I was truly the one chosen to lead my people out of bondage. But it was the final plague, the death of the firstborn, that struck fear into the heart of Pharaoh. From the lowliest servant to the throne of Egypt itself, death claimed the firstborn of every household, leaving devastation in its wake. And in that moment of grief and despair, Pharaoh's resolve crumbled. With tears in his eyes and the weight of loss upon his shoulders, he relented, granting the Hebrew slaves their freedom. We emerged victorious. But while leading my people out of bondage, Pharaoh still sought to destroy every last one of us, demanding his army to chase and take our lives. Meanwhile, in the vast expanse of the desert, I stood at the edge of the Red Sea, my people, the Israelites, huddled close behind me. Not too far behind, we can see the dust clouds as Pharaoh's chariots thundered closer and closer, his army in hot pursuit. Surmountable barrier of water and the impending threat of Pharaoh's wrath behind us. I felt the Spirit of God say,
Lift your staff high.
And with this, I said, Behold, the power of the Lord. With a mighty roar, the waters of the Red Sea parted before our eyes, a path of dry land emerging from the depths. With hearts pounding and hope reignited, we crossed the sea on foot, a miracle unfolding before our eyes. But as we reached the safety of the other shore, the sound of chariot wheels grew closer, Pharaoh's army closing in for the kill. Yet even as the last of us stepped onto dry land, the waters of the sea began to churn once more, the walls of water crashing down upon Pharaoh and his soldiers with a deafening roar. In an instant, the might of Egypt was swallowed by the sea, the waves washing away the remnants of Pharaoh's pride and power. Yet, even in the midst of victory, the shadow of my own mortality loomed large. God had decreed that I would not enter the promised land, a consequence of my own disobedience at the waters of Meribah. And as I stood atop Mount Nebo, gazing upon the land that would be the inheritance of my people, I felt the weight of that judgment pressing down upon me. But in that moment, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky blazed with hues of orange and gold, I felt a peace descend upon me. A peace that transcends understanding. A peace that whispered of a legacy that would endure long after I was gone. And so, as the darkness of night enveloped me and the stars shimmered overhead, I surrendered myself to the embrace of eternity, my journey complete, my soul at rest. For though I may not have entered the promised land, I had walked alongside my people through the wilderness, leading them with a steadfast faith and an unwavering trust in the God who had called me by name. Moses.